Hey guys, AntVenom here, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. And today I'm going to be showing you guys some more commands for the WorldEdit mod. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with how the WorldEdit mod works, then I would highly recommend you check out the link in the description below, because it's going to link to a tutorial that I made a couple of months ago, showing you guys how the basics of this mod work. And like I said, I would recommend checking out that video if you haven't, familiarized yourself with WorldEdit, because there are a couple of commands that I'm going to explain in that video that are not going to be explained in the video that you guys are watching right now. So anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to launch right into it. What I'm going to be showing you guys today are how brushes work within the WorldEdit mod. Now, essentially what a brush is it's something that you can bind to any one of these tools. Now, essentially, to WorldEdit, what a tool is it's any item you can't place on the ground. And I would recommend not using food either, because it can get a little bit glitchy. But like, as you can see, the items that are currently in my inventory: string, feathers, a bowl, a slime ball, or yeah, the gunpowder, cannot be placed on the ground. So to WorldEdit, these are considered tools, and you can bind commands to them like brushes. So essentially what a brush is it's any sort of command that can modify the terrain around me. And there are 5 different commands that I'm going to be showing you guys here today. So if I go ahead and I type in the command brush, or no, okay, yes, just a right 1/ will do it. If I type in the command brush, as you can see, it shows 5 different things on screen there. It shows EX, smooth, cylinder, sphere, and clipboard. Now, I'll be getting into what exactly these 5 different brushes do throughout this video, so just be sure to listen in. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the Extinguisher brush. So what the Extinguisher brush does is, like I said, when I have it bound to a tool and I right-click on the ground with it, it will extinguish any fires that are in the area that are currently set. So if I go ahead and I'm just going to type in /give fire, and it should give me 64 fires. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to place a whole bunch of these on the ground, and I'll show you guys me using WorldEdit in order to place a whole ton of fires here in just a second. But if I go ahead and I, for example, select my gunpowder, and if I hit the T key here, because in single player, that's the key in order to, bring up the chat window if you have single player commands installed. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in /BR, because this will also work for the brush tool. It's just sort of like a shortcut, as you can see there. I'm going to type in /BRX, and it will equip me with the Extinguisher brush, which will extinguish anything within a 5-block radius of the area that I right-click on. So if I right-click right there, it will extinguish all of the fires. But if I go ahead and let's see if I can do this here. Let's just, actually, you know what? No, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set my wand tool, and I'm going to select just a really big area. So 136 blocks. I'm going to type in /set fire, and it's going to set all of the ground area on fire. Now, all I have to do is just right click with my gunpowder here, which is kind of ironic, I think, and it will put out all of the fires within a 5-block radius of the area that I end up clicking on. And that is pretty much how that whole thing works. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in undo, and then undo again, just to smooth out the land. Actually, I'm going to have to type this in a couple of times. So let's do undo, I think it's 3. There we go. So that'll smooth out the land, because typing in /undo 3 will do the undo command 3 times. So anyways, the next one that I'm going to show you guys, if I type in /BR, is the smooth brush. Now, essentially the way the smooth brush works is it's kind of like exactly what you would think. It'll smooth out any land within a given radius, or I should say a height and depth. So if I type in /BR smooth, it'll tell me that it has created a smooth brush within a 2 to 4 area with any block, because I haven't set a mask or anything like that. And I'll show you guys masking in this video here. So if I right click on the ground here, okay, maybe I do have a mask set. Let me go ahead and let me disable that. There we go. So if I right click on the ground here in any given area, it'll smooth out the land, to the way it sees fit. And this works best on like vertical cliff hangings, because like if you, for example, copy an entire area and then paste it, you might find that there are vertical walls on areas where like the land is cut through. And let me just go ahead and let me do that here just for the sake of example, just to give you guys an idea of how it works. Now, it's a little bit finicky unless the whole structure is touching the ground. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to come down a little bit lower here. I'm going to type in /copy. I'm going to rotate it by 180 degrees because of the way I'm going to paste this. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type in /paste. And it will paste down this entire little cliff facing here. But as you can see, it has a very, very sharp edge. And the edge that I wanted to be touching the ground is in fact not touching the ground. So let me go ahead and let me redo that here. Let me go out a little bit further here, type in /paste, and it'll paste it relative to me. And there we go. So the whole thing is like touching the ground the way that I want it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click with my gunpowder tool, which is now the smooth brush, and it is going to smooth out the land quite a bit. And it's best to like right click directly on like this area, for example. And as you can see, it's just smoothing out everything. It's really something that you kind of have to mess with in order to get exactly the way that you want. And, you know, shape the land exactly the way you want as well. But as you can see, it's just smoothing out the land like crazy. And it's getting rid of the, basically getting rid of this vertical cliff facing altogether. But with blocks that are floating like this, it tends to be a little bit weird. It just wants to bring it all towards the ground. So something to keep in mind as well. Yeah, and it wants to bring the water up to it as well. Now, if I go ahead and I type in /br smooth, and I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to type in 5, it'll create a 5x4 block radius selection. And if I go ahead and I type in /br smooth 5, it'll create a 5x5 selection. So yeah, and as you can see, when I actually use it with the 5x5 selection, the brush gets a lot more intense in the way that it smooths. So it becomes a lot more aggressive, I believe would be the correct word to say, in the way that it ends up smoothing things out. So yeah, anyways, so the next brush that I'm going to show you guys is called the cylinder brush. Now this is the first brush that actually requires you to select a certain material, because what this brush is going to be doing is it will, what was I going to say? It'll actually place a cylinder on the ground. Now essentially what a cylinder is it's just like a round type vertical pillar. So if I type in /br C, and I can actually use C in this case, I can type in, well, I'm actually going to type in -H just to show you guys what it does. Now I need to select a kind of block. Now you can either type in, for example, like diamond, which I'm not sure if that would work correctly because there are 3 different kinds of diamond in the game, but if I type in diamond ore, it might work. But just for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to type in 57, which is the block ID of what I want to use. And then you want to select a radius, which I'm going to choose 5, and then I'm going to select a height of 2. Now essentially what the H thing that I typed in was, is it'll make it so that when I right click on the ground, it'll make a hollow cylinder. Now the only time it becomes weird is because of this area right here. Like I can't really go up any further, so I would need to like place blocks underneath me, for example. If I just go ahead and I do this, yeah, okay, and then I need to delete 2 of these and go like that. It becomes, like I said, it becomes a little bit weird, but it does end up working out quite nicely. So yeah, let me go ahead and let me try something here though. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type in /br C 57 5 2. So this is going to create a non-hollow cylinder. So there we go. There we go, and that works out quite perfectly. Now this is just a little experiment. If this doesn't work out properly, oh well, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to try something here. Okay, there we go. Now I'm gonna type in /br C, and then I'm gonna hollow it out with 0, which is air, with a radius of 3, with a height of, let's just say 4, for example. And that's going to bind it to this brush right here. And let me type in mask to make sure that's not doing anything. Not really working. Let me type in /matte, which is going to change my material to dirt. That should do the trick. Let's see here. Not really doing a whole lot. So yeah, like I said, it was just kind of an experiment. Didn't really work out the way that I wanted it to. Oh yeah, that's because I typed in hollow. It's not actually going to hollow out the selection area that I was placing. So, like I said, with the WorldEdit mod in general, it's just really a lot of give and take, you know, trial and error, messing around with it as you see fit. But you guys have now seen, you know, how both types of cylinders work. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move on to the sphere command. Now the sphere command is really quite basic. You know, it's pretty much exactly what you would expect. If I type in /brs, which, you know, that's the shortcut for sphere in this case. Again, you can do the whole hollow thing, which I'm going to do with glass, I believe. I think glass is 20, or that's either glass or sand, but I'm just going to type in the word glass in this case, because there's really only one kind of glass, with the exception of glass panes, but this mod won't mistake it for that. So if I type in /brs, then -H to make it hollow, I'm going to type in glass, and then it'll have a radius. I think the max I can do is 6. Yeah, see, the maximum allowed brush radius is 6. So let's just do BRS -H glass 5. Okay, so I mistyped. And if I right click on any given area, like that area right there, it'll create a hollow glass sphere around that area. So it becomes really, really neat. Now, I'm not going to get into it in this video, but if you guys want to make bigger spheres, for example, I can type in /sphere 20, for example, /sphere 20, then I think I need to do just something really weird. I'm not really too sure. Okay, yeah, see, I seem to be trapped inside of a glass sphere here. So let me show you guys this here really quick because it is in fact huge. Yeah, and I didn't really hollow it out or anything like that either, but it just gives you an idea of what that can do as well. So I'm going to do undo 2, and it'll undo everything that I just did. I'm going to right click on another area. There we go. See, I can just go ahead and I can keep placing glass spheres all over the place. And you can use different radius sizes. All you have to do is just type in a smaller number in order to get that to work. Undo 6. Yeah, oh, okay, I need to undo 4 more times. Undo 4. I'll just go ahead and I'll leave that last sphere there just for, you know, the sake of showing you guys exactly what this looks like. So anyways, the very last one that I'm going to show you guys is called the Clipboard command. Now, if you guys remember correctly, redo. If you guys remember correctly, I had previously copied that one area, which is this right here. Now, if I type in /br clipboard, okay, so /clip doesn't work, br clipboard, it'll, doesn't really work out that way, I guess, with such a giant landmass. So br clipboard, yeah, see, so it doesn't quite work out. So I do need to make a slightly smaller selection area. So let me just do that here really quick, and that should work. Now let me type in /copy, and then I'll go right ahead here and type in /br clipboard. There we go. So now the shape that I have copied on the clipboard here will paste wherever I right click, which does look really finicky, which looks really finicky and looks really bad just given the shape that I copied. But maybe you have, like, for example, I don't know, some sort of square creation or round creation that you had created and you wanted to paste it wherever, you know, this would allow you to do that. So anyways, the last thing that I'm going to end up showing you guys here in this video is how masking works. And then afterwards, just for a little bit, I'm going to do a little bit of a demo as to, you know, the sorts of things that you can do with this, you know, without speaking. So at the very end of the video, I'm going to end up doing that just to give you guys a very quick idea. The last thing that I'm going to be showing you guys is how masking works. So if I go ahead and I'm just going to create a quick sphere brush here. So I'll type in /br sphere. Let's just do, I think it was 10 that I did in the last video, or maybe it was 8. Type br8 5. It will, okay, so that's water. So let me go ahead and undo that. Yeah, it's going to be really finicky. /br s10 5. So now I have the lava selected. And if I go ahead and I type in /mask, what you want to put after here is any sort of block that you only want your selection to apply to. So you're not going to mask out every other block. But for example, if I type in grass here, it'll mask out grass. And if I also, I could, you know, go in here, put a comma with no spaces, type in 1, which will apply to regular stone, I believe it is. 2 is grass. So let me just do 1, 2, 3. So this will do grass, stone, and dirt. So it'll mask out any of those so that anytime I right click on an area, it'll turn that whole area into lava. And undoing it is going to be completely futile here because of the amount of lava that is left there. But it gives you an idea as to exactly how this works. It's not going to apply to the air blocks at all, or even any of the gravel that I had placed there. Now if I were to mask, for example, 0, 1, 2, 3, then it would just create a regular sphere, but it would mask out anything else. So if I were to right click on this area here, doesn't really work out that well. But as you can see, it didn't place any lava in the water itself because it was not a part of the mask. Yeah, I think I have completely screwed up this mountain at this point. So anyways, what else was I going to show you guys now that we are coming down towards nighttime here? I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go ahead and share with you in this video. If you guys want to remove the tool that you're using from your brush, just go ahead and type in /none. And that'll pretty much do it. I think I've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Covered all type 5. Am I dyslexic? I think I might be. I don't know. I should get that checked out. I've shown you guys all 5 types of brushes and everything that they do. So yeah, okay, yeah, I was going to show you guys me doing a little bit of a demo of something, so I'm going to do that here really quick, but I'm going to do I'll do my outro afterwards, so, why don't we just improvise here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, well, okay, so I will be talking while I do it. I'm going to set a brush sphere with stone with a radius of 5, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to connect these sorts of 2 areas together. So just like this, like this, like this. So you might have seen people do like terraforming and creating like really nice like archways and stuff like that. And that's essentially what I'm going to be doing here. And I'm using stone as a base because that is the regular ground base. I'm sorry, piggies. I didn't really mean to do that to you, but you were in the way. I'm going to type in /undo2 because I'm not really too comfortable with the position that this ended up landing in. So I like the way this curves, but the rest of it didn't really curve all that well. Undo. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get this like nice and perfect. So all I need to do is right click one more time, and I am now trapped inside the block. Crap. Let me out. Let me out. Ah, let me out. Let me out. There we go. Okay, so that pretty much gets the idea of what I want to do. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth this out a little bit so it looks really natural. And it looks like I got this on the skyline here, so that's kind of crappy. But I'm going to type in /br smooth. There we go, and it's going to smooth it out just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. This is pretty much what I'm looking for here. And it has a really hard time working with the skyline as well. So just something to keep in mind. I'll smooth out the edges so that it doesn't look like it was created by a sphere generator. There we go. It's looking alright, I think. It gets really skinny in some areas if I click, you know, at the wrong sorts of places. But, you know, just getting rid of these edges here, getting rid of these. There we go. So not completely perfect. You know, it would definitely be something that if you're looking to make something that was really awesome would require some block by block tweaking. Let's go ahead and there's a couple more spots over here that I'm not really too comfortable with. Stupid creeper, go away. You are not a part of my plan. There we go. Yeah. Die, creeper. So the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to type in /br sphere and then 2, which is going to give me grass. So wait, /brs25. So there we go. And I'm going to type in /mask1, which is going to mask out all of the stone. And as you can see, it's placing grass all along here. I think it might be doing it to a radius that I don't really like. So I'm going to undo the last 4 things that I did. /br sphere. Let's just say 2, 3, for example. So now it'll do a 3 wide radius. There we go. So that's a little bit better, but not perfect. And what I would recommend doing if you are looking to like make any sort of terraforming type areas is to click on the very top of what you're trying to click on and not like the sides or the bottom of it, because then the stone on the bottom will turn to grass, which is not what I'm looking to do in this case. So yeah, let's just go ahead and let's try and finish up here as quickly as we can. I'm going to do that because that's not what I was looking to do. So that area right there, that area, it's looking pretty good so far. Yeah, I'm just going to rush it at this point because I don't want to take up too much time of me not doing a whole lot of commentary at all. There we go. Just about finished. Just about finished. So, you know, for the most part, it's pretty rough. But, I mean, it's something that would definitely require some fine-tuning as well. Get that. And there we go. So we've created, you know, just sort of like a really weird, not really so much natural looking archway for this whole area. But, you know, it gives you an idea of what you can do. And, you know, I would highly recommend messing around with these brushes because they are really simple to mess around with, but they're difficult to master. So definitely recommend checking them out. But anyways, guys, I hope you all have enjoyed this video. And like I said, if you didn't understand some of the things that I was talking about in this video, be sure to check out the first World Edit guide because that'll be linked in the description below and as well in a couple of seconds for the end annotations. And that'll give you a more general idea as to how this mod works. But anyways, guys, I hope you all have enjoyed this video. My name is AntVenom, and I bid you all farewell. Thanks so much for watching.